You know, the thing about faith is it works both ways. If you believe a lie, that's what's going to have power over your life. But if you believe the truth of Jesus Christ, that's what delivers you from the power of sin. Because it is through the body of Christ that we die to the law that was sin's power. Paul describes it in 1 Corinthians 15:56. The sting of death is sin, and the strength of sin is the law. Well, the sting of death is still sin. In Romans 6:15 or 16, he says, "Know you not to whom you yield yourselves servants to obey, as servants you are to whom you obey, whether of sin unto death or obedience unto righteousness." But it is the knowledge of the truth, the discernment of the truth, to know the truth, that frees us from sin. This is what Paul is saying to Timothy in 1 Timothy 3:7. Some are ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. The writer of Hebrews in 10:26 says, if we willfully sin after we receive the knowledge of the truth, there remains no more sacrifice for sin, but a certain fearful looking for of judgment and fiery indignation, which shall devour the adversaries. Jesus said, if you're truly my disciples, you will continue in my word, in my teachings, in my sayings. And if you do continue in my word, you will know the truth, and the truth will make you free. They thought he was talking about servitude to men, but Jesus said, he who commits sin is the servant of sin. And a servant doesn't remain in the house forever, but a son does. And whoever these sons shall make free shall be free indeed. This is the same thing that Paul is describing in Galatians chapter 4, that an heir, as long as he's a child, differs nothing from a servant, though he be Lord of all, but is under tutors and governors until the time appointed of the Father. This is what he's describing in chapter 3, that until faith comes, we're watched under the law, held prisoners to sin, until the faith of Jesus Christ comes. Well, here he says, likewise, we, in chapter 4 of Galatians, he says, we're in bondage under the elements of the world until the fullness of time came, when God sent forth his Son, made of a woman, made under the law, that we might receive the adoption of sons. And because we are sons, he sent forth the Spirit of his Son into our hearts, crying, Abba, Father.